My name is Joe Doak and I'm 64 years old. I've recently retired as an Associate Professor of Urban Planning at the University of Reading. I was born in Lympstone in 1957 and I grew up in the 1960s and the 1970s. My mum's family had lived in the village since the early 1800s. They were called Norton and they were also related to the Lytton family. I was born in Strand House on the Strand, which is my grandparents' house. I was the youngest of 5 and actually grew up in Green Cottage on the Green. Our dad was a carpenter and he didn't earn very much. Green Cottage had 2 bedrooms and for a while 5 kids used to sleep in one bed, 3 at the bottom and 2 at the top. Then my sister and my 2 brothers moved in with my gran and granddad, and so there were only 2 in the bed. The house had a toilet in the shed, and I hated going there on a winter's night because it was so cold and dark, and it had spiders and mice. My brother and myself had a weekly bath in a tin bath, with water heated in a copper boiler. Once, my mum bathed me in the street when I got muddy playing in the estuary, and I was really embarrassed. When I was 5, the house got flooded and swans were swimming in the village street. Me and my brother skimmed plates across the water in our kitchen, and we thought it was great fun, but my mum and dad didn't. From about 4 years old, I was always out and about playing with my mates. It amazes me how free and easy my parents were, but there were hardly any cars in the village and everyone knew everyone else, so it was pretty safe. However, that freedom gave me lots of opportunities to get into trouble, which I did. We had stone fights around the boat shelter, and once I got hit by a stone in the forehead and a big bump came out bright and red. We used to climb the monkey climbs up the cliff in the boat shelter, and we often fell down them. My brother could climb all of them and the 2 gorilla climbs as well. We used to make camps in the hedge around the cliff field and lots of other places in the village. We also used to climb the cliff field tree, which is now gone, and we also ran a zip wire across the football field and used to come down it on a pulley. We always played football on the cliff field and also in the streets, particularly around Underhill by the Globe. We also used to build carts and race them down Station Hill, or the hill that was coming down from the cliff field. It was quite dangerous because we had no brakes. We would swim off the harbour wall and also around the sewage outlet near the dump. Here's a picture of my mum swimming in the river in the 1930s, so it shows that she did it before us. We would play chase around all the village streets, running up and down the little lanes. We would play Rin Tin Tin in the boat shelter, or LONDON spells London at the back of the Globe. Finally, we also used to make feather boats and race them in the brook. This took a lot of skill because you had to cut the wood, get the feather, create a hole, put it in, and also add a rudder. But it was great fun. We didn't have many holidays because the summer was a constant holiday in Lympstone. My uncle had a van and he used to take us to places in Devon so we could go and visit. They lived in Braunton in North Devon and sometimes we went there. When I was 10, I went on a holiday to my auntie's in Hull in Yorkshire, and me and my 2 brothers hitchhiked up to Hull and it took 24 hours. I slept in a telephone box in Sheffield and I felt terrible. The only organisations I was involved in were the Cub Scouts and the Sunday school at the chapel. In the Cubs we did Bob a Job, when you did jobs for people and they gave you money that went to charity. A bob was what we called a shilling and it was worth 5p in modern money. My mum ran the Sunday school, so I had to go, even though I would rather have been playing football with my mates. Every year we had a scripture exam when we had to answer questions about the Bible. I got 82% one year, which was pretty good. I got a prize. It was a copy of the New Testament with pictures in it. I quite like that. I started school when I was 5. The first day at school, I ran home during the break time. My mum brought me back and all the class were waiting for me on the steps of the Year 1 classroom. I felt dead embarrassed. Again. Farmer Ware used to herd his cows up School Hill, and they often got into the school playground. We would help the farmer to get them out, but they would leave a lot of poo behind. Years 5 and 6 had allotments at the top of the playground near the schoolhouse. We would grow carrots, lettuce, beans, and even flowers. The cows would sometimes eat all our hard work. Every year we would enter the Exmouth and District inter-school sports, which was held down in Exmouth on the cricket field at the Mare. We would have trials and do practice running in Candy's field, but sometimes we would slip on what the cows had left behind. We always won the Air Cup, which was for the best performing school by size. We were always the smallest school and we had some good runners. In Year 6 we did a special project on the village, a bit like what you're doing this week. I remember I helped do a survey of all the shops in the village. There was a lot of them in the 1960s. And from there I went on to become a university professor in urban planning. So you never know what the Wow Week might lead to. Ever since the 1930s, the big event in Lympstone has been the Ferry Dance. When I was at Lympstone Primary School, we had to practice the dance in the summer term so that we could do it properly in the August holidays. The dancers used to dance through the streets, but also through the pubs and some of the houses. They danced through my grand's house, coming in the back door, dancing up the passage, and going out through the front door. For a number of years, my brother Chris has been one of the lead dancers in the Ferry Dance. You can see him in this video clip. And here's some photographs of me joining in the Ferry Dance when I was 7 and also a few years ago with my daughter. One of the things about the village is that it hasn't really changed a lot in appearance over the years. It still looks basically the same as it did in the 1960s and even before that. New houses have been built in the gaps and old houses have been modernised, but it has not had major new housing developments like Exmouth, which has been planned as a growth area for East Devon. As an example of building change and modernisation, I will just show you pictures of Green Cottage, the house where I first lived. This is what it looked like in 1905, 1920, 1953, 1963, 1980, and then, after a big change, 2016. So, there you have it, a few of my stories of growing up in Lympstone. You are now creating your own stories, so write a few of them down as you go. I hope you enjoy your WOW week and your research on the history of Lympstone Village. I've lived in many places in England and I've travelled to many parts of the world, but Lympstone will always have a special place in my heart. It is a beautiful and quite lively village. Enjoy every minute of your time there. Thank you.